I lost my sight when I was 11. 3 decades have passed since then. Over time, I learned to adapt, rebuild my routine, and eventually reached a place where I could say I was at peace with my life. I felt I had regained control. At least, that's what I believed. Until this week. It all began on Monday. I had an unusually tough day at work. I'm a teacher, and the students were defiant. My supervisor was unkind, and the weather dampened my spirits. It was one of those days I wished I could erase. When I got home, all I wanted was to lie down and disconnect from the world. I came in, drank some water, and went straight to bed. But as soon as I lay down, I felt something wasn't right. After a few minutes, I noticed the mattress was warm, but only on one side, as if someone else had been there just minutes before. A chill ran through me. I stayed still, listening. Eventually, I convinced myself it was probably just my imagination. I drank another glass of water and tried to sleep. The next day, back from work, I sat on the couch to listen to TV. Yes, even though I can't see, modern accessibility lets me enjoy shows. A narrator describes the scenes. Odd at first, but you get used to it. I wasn't paying close attention when I felt warmth on my right side. After a moment, I realized it came from a lamp, lit above the table beside me. I never turn on lights at home. It doesn't make sense. No one had visited in over a month. If that lamp had been on that whole time, I'd have noticed. I sit there almost daily. I switched off the lamp and tried not to dwell on it. I listened to another episode, heated some dinner, and got ready for bed. I left the kitchen, walked 4 steps down the hallway as usual, then turned into my bedroom and walked straight into a closed door. I stopped cold. I never close doors inside the house. I live alone and can't see, so I leave them open for practicality. There was no reason for that door to be closed. Someone had been in my home. Fear like I felt that day. I hadn't experienced since waking up in the hospital and realizing I'd never see again. I pulled out my phone to call emergency services, but my hand shook so hard it slipped and hit the floor. I heard it thud on the carpet, bounce off the wall's baseboard. I dropped myself to the floor, searching, but after several seconds, it wasn't there. Had it rolled farther than I thought? I was certain I heard it fall at my feet. I expanded the search, crawling with arms outstretched, probing every inch of that small hallway between the guest room door and the laundry room door. My arms ached from dragging across the carpet when suddenly one finger brushed something solid on the floor. I moved a bit further and placed my hand on what I felt. Nothing. Confused, I moved again. Still nothing. Finally, my hand landed on something much bigger than a phone. I touched the surface carefully, cold, dry, with a texture eerily like human skin. Then I knew. It moved under my hand. I was touching a person's foot. Just as a scream was ready to burst forth from my lungs, my phone rang. An alarm. A loud, insistent vibration echoing off the floor a few meters away. The tone cut the silence like a knife. From the other side of the room, I heard a body jump, hurried footsteps, a door opening, someone running away. I remained still, holding my breath, listening as the sounds slowly faded. I said nothing. I just listened. When I was sure no one remained, I tentatively moved toward the phone's sound, still trembling. It was then I realized, by an absurd coincidence or a stroke of luck, I survived to tell. I was 16 when my parents went away for a weekend to celebrate their 20th anniversary. I pretended to be sad when they left, but inside, I was thrilled. I finally had the house to myself. They left Friday morning after I headed to school. In the afternoon when I came back, I made a quick snack with what was left, then settled in the living room to play video games. I had no classes the next day, and no one to tell me when to sleep. I wanted to enjoy every minute. I was online with my friends until around 10 p.m. Then everyone signed off. I kept playing solo. Around 11 p.m., The neighbor's dog started barking. It's huge, and its bark carries far, so it bothered me a lot. After minutes of barking, I paused and looked out the window. Their house was completely dark, yet the dog kept barking from inside. Then I saw a man walking across their yard toward the sidewalk. I didn't see where he came from. It seemed strange, but I went back to my game. 15 minutes later, someone knocked on my door. I was startled, but didn't pause my game. When I finished, I took off my headset, only to realize the knocking was at the back door. It was almost midnight. I froze, keeping the lights off. I thought if they didn't know someone was home, they would leave. Minutes passed. No more knocks. I returned to gaming until nearly 2 a.m. I shut everything off and went upstairs to bed. Soon after, I heard a car pull onto the gravel driveway. It stopped right in front of the garage. Someone got out, closed the car door, and started walking around the house. I lost track when the footsteps reached the backyard. I felt a chill. I quietly went down the stairs, but halfway down, I heard someone trying to open the back door. I ran back to my room and called the police. I tried to sound calm, though my heart raced. They told me they were sending a patrol and ordered me to lock myself inside. I locked my door and waited. A minute later, the back door opened. I heard footsteps inside. The person went to the living room, then the kitchen. It sounded like they were stuffing things quickly into a box. Then, he left. I felt a short wave of relief, but he came back. I heard the car door, then footsteps entering again. I assumed he had dropped something off and returned for more. He went upstairs. He entered my parents' room, stayed there a while, then came to mine. The doorknob turned. Then, he bolted. He ran out of the house and left. My heart pounded so hard I felt I'd faint. I was sure that if I opened that door, I'd have to fight. When the police arrived, I told them everything. They phoned my parents and searched the house. They said that guy wouldn't return now that they knew someone was inside. He took my Xbox and some valuables, but he didn't find me. I survived to tell. When I was about 12 or 13, I often stayed home alone after school. My parents and younger sisters usually got home about an hour and a half later. I didn't mind being alone at all. I could eat whatever I wanted, blast the TV to full volume with nobody scolding me, and chat freely with friends via video call. This particular day I arrived home, dropped my bag, and all I wanted was to make myself mac and cheese and cry. I was exhausted, so I started cooking. But just as the water came to a boil, I heard a distinct sound, someone with big heavy boots walking on the floor below. I knew it couldn't be family. My dad, who always arrives first, wouldn't come home for another hour. Even if he had come early, I'd have heard the garage door clearly. To avoid panicking, I told myself it was probably the washing machine off balance downstairs. I turned off the stove and, just in case, grabbed a large kitchen knife before going downstairs. But when I got to the basement, neither the washer nor dryer was running. My mind froze. I stood at the top of the stairs, trying to make sense of what I heard, searching for logical explanations to calm myself. Then suddenly it turned freezing cold, and I felt someone behind me. When that presence exhaled on my neck, it was over. I sprinted upstairs with everything I had, hearing not only footsteps behind me, but heavy breathing. At the top, I remembered the knife in my hand. I turned, ready to face the intruder, but no one was there. I thought they had gone back down, so I locked myself in the bathroom and texted my dad. He told me not to make a sound and not to leave. I asked if I should call the police, but he said no. I stayed in the bathroom, stifling my sobs, because my worst fears seemed to be coming true. Then I heard heavy boots again, this time moving upstairs. I texted my dad quickly to ask if he had arrived yet. He replied he hadn't. My stomach dropped. The steps were getting closer, until they stopped just outside the bathroom door. I covered my mouth with my hand, unable to control my hyperventilating breath. I saw the shadow of feet under the door. I heard breathing from the other side. I stayed there, choking back tears, crying uncontrollably. I was terrified. Suddenly, I heard my dad's garage door open. An immense relief washed over me. I heard the intruder run toward my parents' room. My dad searched the entire house, found nothing. No broken windows. Every door was locked. And of course, no one else was inside. But the basement, which my mom had cleaned that same day, was completely disorganized. He joked that it might have been my imagination, that I was just paranoid. But to this day, I can't explain it. I know what I heard. I know what I felt. And I survived to tell.
So skriv ett